So good morning, everyone. Sorry, I had some technical itch, but I'm able to join now. So I hope you can hear me. Anyone?
Yes, Chris. Good morning. We can hear you.
Thank you. Before even I share my screen, let's have volunteer leaders in a word of prayer so that we can start immediately. You can see we are at least 40 of us. I know others are joining, so that we save on time because we have 2 presentations to make. So volunteer, kindly.
Okay, let's believe and pray. Good morning.
Morning, Gladys.
Yeah, let's pray. Almighty Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that we have seen, oh Lord. Thank you for the gift of life. This moment, oh Lord, you're going to start to learn, oh Lord. May you cover your precious blood. Lead us, oh Lord, even our facilitator and the rest of the people who have not even entered, oh Lord, in this meeting, oh Lord. Let's be enabled to learn and study together. We thank you. We love you. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Gladys. So we want to start off immediately because we have a very busy 1.5 hours. So we will start with a presentation, which I will take you through a presentation on how to make a good clinical summary. Then Collins from NASCOP will take us through the platform that you will be using for clinical case summaries going forward. So that even the tracking of the cases will be easy, because we've realized that we do a lot of work in the background, but we are not able to showcase what we do because of lack of a system that can track that process. So that is why we thought it is wise to have a system that will be in as we continue, we'll have it have interoperability power or property to be able to be linked with Kenya EMR so that we can be able to follow a case from the EMR, from the Kenya EMR. But at the moment, we will be doing the manual, not manual per se, but we will be inputting the case to the system manually. We are working towards a system that will be able to pick a case from Kenya EMR to the system. Then we do recommendations, and then the case is back. The recommendations are back to Kenya EMR for implementation. So that is a system that we are working on, and I know Collins will take us through that. So I want, I don't know if Dr. Patricia is on this call. Dr. Patricia?
Yes, Chris. Good morning.
Good morning. Kindly be my co-host. So I will be doing presentations. In case of anyone who is interrupting the meeting, can be able to mute them kindly.
Sure.
Okay, so let me share the presentation. I will take 30 minutes so that we save on time. So I will be a bit faster, but I will make sure that we understand. Let us mobilize our colleagues, especially the clinicians who will be doing a lot of these case summary filling, so that they get the gist of what is supposed to they are supposed to do to make a case comprehensive. Remember, case in example is some of the cases that we are not able to sort as the region. We forward them to NASCOP, and even some we forward them to international reviewers. So you can imagine if you have not done a case well, then the person who is maybe in the US who is trying to review the case, they will have a hard time because they will be back and forth on the information that they need for them to make a decision. But when you follow this standard way of filling the case summary, you will be able to even make the work of the reviewer easy. And if I'm lost, kindly let me know. I'm working in a unfamiliar territory, so I might lose internet. we will be going through a clinical case summary, and this will be okay. Yeah. So basically, this is how the cases flow. Sorry about that. So the case consultation cascade, we have a routine follow-up of our patient, which is, of course, provided by the same team of care providers. Then when we discuss a case as the MDT, we identify a case manager. Then the case manager is able to provide enhanced adherence support. Then is able to link the client and the MDT. So he's more of a link between the client and the MDT. Then there's a facility MDT that sit down to discuss the case. So if the facility MDT feels that this is a case that require input of the regional TWG, they will forward the case to the regional TWG. And if the regional TWG feels that this case requires input of national team, they will send it to the national TWG. So that is the flow. But most of the cases are sorted at the facility level by the MDT, unless, of course, the cases that maybe require further interrogation. That is when the cases are sent to the regional TWG. We rarely send cases to the national TWG unless a case that, of course, require more input, and, of course, a case that will require maybe a third line regimen. So we need to get that line regimen from the national program. So this is how the case clinical case summary looks like. I hope everyone has seen this form. And if you are a clinician and you have never seen this clinical summary form, then you are doing injustice to your client that you serve, because at least any functional CCC must have a patient or two who have issues, not necessarily IVL issues. They could be having issues of advanced drug reaction. They could be having issues of drug-to-drug interaction. They could be having issues of any issue that require consultation. We'll talk about them. But if you have never seen this clinical summary form, then you need to really go back and have a feel of this. This is a very, very important form. So this is how the form flows. It has key sessions. Number one is client biodata, identification, and facility contact details. We'll go through that part. There is primary reason for consultation. Not always. You know, there is an assumption that we only consult because of treatment failure. Not necessarily. There are other reasons when we get consultations. We have clinical evaluation summary, the most important part of this clinical summary. I will tell you why it is the most important and critical section. Then we have key laboratory investigations and clinical events. Then adherence and treatment failure evaluation, other relevant history, and lastly, the MDT findings. So you can see MDT is very, very critical. So let's start with the identification details. We have this session that is highlighted in red. Let me look for my pointer. So yeah, let me use this pointer. So this part here. So you can see we have the name of the facility, the patient CCC number, the MFL code, patient details such as date of birth, gender, enrollment date, current weight, height, clinician who is doing the summary, the facility contact, or even the clinician contact. Very, very important. It is important because there was a time when we received a case from Machakos, but there was a mix-up in the MFL code and the name, so they were not matching. So we were able to track down and got the right case. So it is very important to get it right at this point. And these areas you will find, like in the online system, they are compulsory. You need to provide all that details. So that is it as the identification details. Let's talk about the section number 2, which is primary reason for consultation. Primary reason for consultation is the area highlighted in red. Someone is talking. Yeah, the area that is highlighted in red. And that area is also very, very key because we want to know from a glance, why are you consulting? Why are you sending a case for review? So, and these are some of the reasons we have, like in 1,788 cases that were received by NASCOP, 63.2% were because of second-line treatment failure. I know this will change. This was before the 2022 ART guideline, and I know this one will change because most of our consultation nowadays are because of INSTI, because most of our clients are on INSTI-based regimen. That is, most of them are on TLD, and when they experience treatment failure, you realize that still you have to do the clinical case summary. Then we have other reasons like DRT requests. We have crossover patients. So crossover patient basically means the patient who have been followed up maybe by a consultant and they are put on a regimen that is not standard. Maybe a client will come with darunavir, DTG, and maybe another probably FTC. So this is a regimen that is not standard. So you might want to have it standardized to ensure that you're able to get the right medication or treatment that can come directly from cancer. Then we have first-line treatment failures, taking 7.4%. We have advanced drug reaction. So you can also consult because of advanced drug reaction. You have like some time back, we had a case from one of the EDAP sites, a client who could not tolerate TDF, could not tolerate it, 3TC. We went to consult with the national program, and finally we were able to transfer that client to KNH for management, and she's doing well at the moment. Then we have comorbidities. Comorbidities comes with their own challenge. And remember, most of our clients now are developing the NCDs because of many factors. So in case of comorbidities, there are drug-to-drug interaction that comes in. There is an advanced drug reaction because of synergism of the drugs that they are administered with ARVs. So all those brings a lot of challenges, or even a pill burden. You would want to work on the pill burden because of the comorbidity. So you would want to consult because of that. Then maybe you have undiscriminated HIV result that you require assistant on how to sort all that. And then, of course, we have that line treatment failure. So all those. And it was anticipated that there could be increase in the DRT request because of the implementation of 2022 ART guideline, which did not happen as anticipated because of the stock out that we are experiencing at the moment for DRT. However, the requests are very many. I can ascertain to that even from our region, even though we have not been able to do as much because of the commodities. But yeah, as we await for the recommendation for the commodities, we might be able to have to approve very many DRTs. Then this is the clinical evaluation session. I told you this is a very important session. Now, why is it very important? It is very important because if I read through the clinical evaluation form or session, I should be able to make a decision. I should be able to know what is the problem. Like, what is the problem with this client? And I can start formulating recommendations. I can even start, there is a flow of information at this point. And I will show you an example. Look at this. This is just a sample of a case that was submitted some time back. So it was written, diagnosed on 20th August 2013, started ART on 27th August 2013. Married, status of spouse unknown due to decline. Testing disclosure has been done. Is a housewife, current age 44, current WHO stage 1, no comorbidity, and then find no current Y. So how would you rate this clinical evaluation summary? Maybe if we were in a physical meeting, I would pose these questions, but because of the challenges that comes with virtual platform, let me just go through these queries. So what are some of the gaps on the clinical evaluation summary, and how would you improve on the case evaluation summary? Basically, what this question is asking, what this the questions are trying to interrogate is, what is the value of sending such a clinical summary to someone who has never interacted with the patient? Will they be able to make any decision? The answer is no. So this is a very poor clinical evaluation session. What are some of the gaps? There are a lot of gaps that are missing. I'll talk about them in the next slide, but just let's go through the major clinical event that you need to of course, highlight in this session. So number one, tell us about the date of HIV diagnosis. Tell us about ARV exposure, the history, including if they ever used ART, if they ever used PrEP, if they ever used the PMTCT. Remember the time we were using PMTCT, option A, option 2B, all those, if they were ever, of course, exposed to them, you need to mention. Give us brief ART history. Tell us the changes that has happened over the years. Tell us about the substitutions. Tell us about modifications. Tell us about the switches that have happened over the years. Tell us about the past and current wise or comorbidities and medication. This is very important because if you tell us someone has maybe something like a PUD, a chronic PUD, they are on something like esomeprazole, and maybe they are on atazanavir, then we already pick that there is drug-to-drug interaction between the atazanavir and the PPIs. So it is very important to mention the past and the current wise and the medication the client is on. History of hospitalization and the reasons. We would want to know what made your patient to be hospitalized, then key laboratory investigations like CD4, serum crack, viral load, briefly, just a brief, not all of them, but you can highlight the key. Like if you had a CD4 that it was below 200 and there was a serum crack which was negative, it is important to report. If there was a CD4 that was below 200 and there was a crack that was positive, it's good to report. If you have a viral load that was very high or that was unusual, is also important to report. Then, of course, for children, tell us about the developmental milestones so that we are able to build up on what is happening to the child. Then psychosocial history, disclosure, and presence of stigma, very important, mention them. Tell us something about the psychosocial, tell us about the disclosures, tell us about the support system, tell us about the stigma. Then for adolescent or AYPs, tell us about, give us the findings for ENS assessment, home, education, how is their home, what is the education status, how is this adolescent doing in school, is he an average student, above average, below average, activity, what are the activities that they do, someone else. Yeah, also add any Janet has mentioned the significant weight changes. Very important because that will be able to help us pick the issue of malnutrition or that, even the obese in case of drugs that cause weight gain. So all that, suicidal thought, sexual history, sexuality for an adolescent. Then tell us about the screening tools findings, Cage End, Craft, PHQ9, GAN7, GBV screening, Morisky 4, Morisky 8, all that. Then tell us about the current clinical status as per the last visit. Tell us the general examination, and tell us anything that is significant in the last clinical visit. This will also help us to fast track. If it's a patient who is deteriorating, we might be able to fast track the case to get even a DRT as soon as possible. So look at this case here. So we have a 32-year-old. So this is a very good summary that was done as just a sample from the cases that we receive. So we have a 32-year-old who was diagnosed to be HIV positive on, okay. One minute, please. So give me like 2 minutes to set up in a new place, kindly. So sorry about that. I just got moved from another place. I said myself they're having another meeting. So I'm attending another activity. So I decided to kind of step out from that meeting so that we do this quick presentation. So I was showing you an example of a good summary. I hope you can hear me, Patricia.
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah. So a 32-year-old who was diagnosed to be HIV positive on 16th July 2007 with a baseline of baseline CD452. Just by that statement alone, you already know that this is a person who was diagnosed HIV positive when they were around 15 years. They have been on HIV treatment for the last 17 years. And they came in when they were very sick immunologically. They had CD4, which was way below. So they were initiated on D40, 3TC nevirapine in 2009. So there was a delay of 2 years between the diagnosis and the initiation of ART. And you can see this is someone who required ARVs immediately because of the immune the immune suppression. Then the WHO stage at enrollment was stage 2, and weight at that point was 52 kgs with a BMI of 16.4. So you can also tell that this person came very sick with a very low BMI. So the client was put on TDF3TC nevirapine in 2013. So you already know that from 2007 to 2013, this client was exposed to D4T. And if you start imagining what might have happened with the ARVs in terms of what mutation do you expect to get in such a client if they end up accumulating some mutations. So you already start thinking about maybe the end some terms. Then there was that toxicity that came in, and she was switched from TDF3TC nevirapine to TDF3TC efavirenz due to nevirapine toxicity. So this is a client you never want to put on a nevirapine-based regimen. So all that, I don't want to go through the case, the whole of this, because I will share the slides, but I want you to get the gist of why it is important to have a good clinical evaluation session. So I proceed to the table of content, or the table that gives us chronological event in terms of the laboratory investigations that have been done over the years and the clinical events that have happened. This is the part that is highlighted in red, the part that we are talking about. This is just some of the things that we need to know. So a tabular chronological of key clinical event and interventions since enrollment. So we want to know what has happened since enrollment. And this is what I've been telling the clinicians that they do the presentations, the normal presentations they do during our MDTs. Let's see the flow. Let's start with the past coming to the present. Don't start from the present going to the past. So let's start from the top. We start from the past, from the enrollment coming to the current time. Then we want to know when did so this one will help us to get when did the patient likely start failing, first line, second line, or even third line. based on the CD4, based on OIs, based on a viral load. So if you don't have maybe a viral load, a CD4 will guide you, because if someone had a CD4 of 500 and now they have a CD4 of 200, you know there is a immunological failure. If someone was doing well and now they have developed PPE, they have developed TB, they have developed CM, clinically you already know that this patient is failing treatment. Same case with the viral load. So are there any delays in identifying or acting on treatment failure? Like if you see 10 IVLs following each other, or 5 VL without any intervention that has been mentioned, then we know there was delay in making decision. Then reasons for switch or substitution, give us the reason why did you switch a client from TDF probably to AZT-based regimen. Was it because of treatment failure, or was it because of toxicity, or that? Then let's talk about the implication of previous failures or suspected failures, because it's very important. And it will also help us to get the appropriate drug dosing with weight changes, especially in children. Then appropriate dosing with drug-to-drug interaction, like in case of TB and TLD, we want to know if the client, there was some drug modification that was done. In case of PI with TB, we want to know what was done to ensure that the drug-to-drug interaction was certain. Then key clinical event like OIs, advanced drug reactions, comorbidities, then abnormal lab results are also very key. So this is just an example of a case that we picked from the cases that we have. You can see, I want to go through this part here. Now let me just go through this quickly. So you can see when you look at the column on, so this client, you can see from 2018, there is something that is coming to the future. It's not like we're starting from 2021 going back to 2018. Then the CD4, it was that 1%, then it went to 37%, then it went to 24%, then to 11% to 8%. So basically, it tells you this client started failing in 2019, I mean, based on just the reduction in the CD4 percent. Then you can see also the HB going down, and this one will help you to identify a chronic condition like TB. You can easily pick TB or something that is making, that is affecting the bone marrow. So something that's causing anemia, you need to look for. You can see from 2019 is when our patient started deteriorating in terms of in terms of the HB. All that. Let me go to this ARV regimen. Now, I've seen some of our clinicians do this. So they will write ABC, 3TC, lopinavir. Then the next row, they will leave it blank, they will leave it blank, they will leave it blank. Then they will come here and write maybe TLD. So we don't know what was happening here because they are blank. So always make sure that you fill all the ARV regimen, because we want to see the flow and when the change occurred. Then, of course, tell us about the OIs that came in. You can see this client moved from stage 1 in 2018 to stage 4 in 2021. So this is what I was talking about. There is a decline. Then this is also what I was talking about there. The HB was also declining. Then you can see this is the time that the patient started developing, the area that is highlighted in red, the time then the patient started developing treatment failure. And this is the time we should have acted and saved the day. So let's talk about adherence and treatment very quickly. So we have this session that is highlighted in red that covers adherence and treatment failure evaluation. So we have different things that we look for, and these are the things that we need to be very, very observant, and we need to report them. Let's hear let's know what happened in the EAC sessions 1, 2, and 3. Let's hear what happened in if you did home visit, what were the findings? And we have a very good tool that guides the home visits. If I get time, I will show you that tool. Then available support structure, very important. We want to know who is support structure, who is supporting this client. We want to know if the daily witness ingestions were done, and maybe if the cause of treatment failure was not necessarily the adherence, but another cause. Then we want to, these are the things that we want you to identify when you are doing EACs, and this one goes to our adherence counselors. We want to know if you have evaluated the client adherence using maybe the self-reporting tool, the Moriski tool, the pill count, the pharmacy refill. Tell us about the PHQ-9. And remember, we talked about it in the clinical evaluation. Tell us about the cage aid craft. What are the possible barriers to adherence? Are they drug related? Are they psychosocial? Are they because of stigma? All that. Tell us other reason that may cause subtherapeutic drug levels. Could be drug to drug interaction, drug to food interaction. You might find someone who works as a chef and they consume a lot of garlic and DTG. They have drug interaction. You have someone who has had vomiting. They have had chronic diarrhea, so impaired absorption, inadequate dosing, especially in children, storage, preparation, all that. Mention them. Let's hear them. Let them come out. What recommendation given during the EAC sessions? And then this is just a brief what you can report. So you can tell us the barriers and the action points that you developed. I don't want to go through them because of time. Then tell us about the home visit. As the patient disclosed the HIV status to other household members, or when the other household members are present, they don't take ARVs. How are the patient ARVs stored? Do they store them in the roof, like in the ceiling? So there is a lot of heat because of mabati. Are they storing the drugs while somewhere where they can get the moisture? All that. Does the patient receive social support from the members of the household or in or the community? Is the patient suffering from stress situation or significant loss? Maybe they have lost someone significant. They have lost something that is significant, including even if the pet. So if someone has lost a pet that was very close to them, that may also affect their adherence in one way or the other. Then, is the patient having any side effect from the medication? Very important, because we have noted that when you give some of adolescent maybe TDF3TC or the ATVR, they prefer to take TDF3TC and they don't take ATVR because of the size. So you need to interrogate all that. And then home visits, talk about the ends assessment, tell us about what is this is just an example of our home visit report. I don't want to go through it. I will share the slides because of time. And of course, other relevant history, we want to know treatment interruption. Is this client ever interrupted treatment? Has drug resistant testing ever done? And if it has ever been done, what are the results? Why is it very important? Remember when I was doing at CME on Friday, I talked about the relevance of a DRT that was done in 2007 in the relevance of it in 2024. So we would want to know if they have ever had a DRT done, because it will also impact on the decision that you make. The MDT recommendations and then the MDT membership, you would want to know if there were the MDT, the representative from all departments. Then our brother Collins will take us through the web-based clinical summary. So I don't want to talk about that. You will be doing that. Then, of course, after we get the clinical summary, we will be able to complete a clinical feedback form. I don't want to really go through this because this is mostly for the mentors who will be, or the case reviewers and the secretariat. Then drug resistant testing, I know we have been talking about this, so I don't want to talk much about this because we will be resuming our CME series from next week. So that marks the end of my presentation. I've taken 40 minutes, but that is because we started a bit late. So I would welcome the questions, but there might be very many questions. So what I would recommend, let's have Collins take us through the system before people start dropping out of the call. Then we can handle the plenary. I know there are some kelele because of the background noise, because I'm just next to the kitchen. So Collins.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Collins.
Yeah.
Morning, Collins.
Oh, you can hear me clearly?
Yes, you are very clear.
Okay, let me just give me just about 2 minutes. Let me just set up so that we can start.
Okay, thank you. So maybe as we give Collins time to set up, any question that require my, I can address one question as we wait Collins to set up. Yeah, so there's a comment from Patricia. Patricia, you can just speak. You can just speak, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Chris, for the presentation. Two comments based on the summaries that we keep receiving. First, in the identification details, let us avoid using the name of the client. Then when it comes to the lab investigations and clinical events, usually we just get the weight, but sometimes the weight alone, especially for patients who have been on follow-up for long, the weight alone is not useful. So let's include the Z-score for the children and the BMI so that we see the progression in terms of nutrition status. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Patricia. That is very important. Weight is a very, very strong indicator, and especially in children. So if you fail to do anything else, kindly know the weight of your children, because the highest kill of our children is malnutrition, pneumonia, GE, all those. So malnutrition is one of the biggest killer in our children. So let us know if we are dealing with a child who is already malnourished, as we sort out the ARVs, which might take some time. Let us be sorting out the nutritional status. Any other comment or question? So I hope this one will has been impactful in terms of those who are. I know there are people who are afraid to do a clinical summary because they will present it in front of many people. But if you don't do a clinical summary, if you keep a patient on a filling regimen for long, you are causing problems to your client. And if your client will ever know that this decision, if this decision was made in 2019 instead of 2024, maybe I could have options, the ART options. They will never forgive you for keeping them on a filling regimen. So let's make decisions. Let's do a clinical summaries. Then forward these cases to the RTW. Let this problem be the RTW problem. Yeah. Yeah. So I can see there is another. Yeah. So it's job. Carlos, appreciating the good presentation. So yeah, Collins is setting up. Good. So I will hand over to Collins. Welcome, Collins.
So good morning, everyone.
Morning, Collins. You can hear you.
Morning.
You can hear me clearly?
Yes.
So,
Yes, we can hear you
okay.
clearly.
So I'd like to begin the presentation with basically just just 1 minute. Mhm. Okay, we can proceed. So I'll just do a short presentation just to give you an overflow of how the Uliza platform works and how we can be able to navigate around the Uliza platform and which forms we'll be using in terms of to basically, as the earlier presenter had mentioned, in terms of how the clinical summary form, which has been digitized on the Uliza platform, how you basically fill it, and basically the information flow from the clinical summary form to now basically the regional technical working group who will be having accounts. So We'll start first with basically the flow of the system. The system first starts with the clinical summary form, which is open to all the clinicians who can be able to fill the summary form. Once they fill the form, they will get an email notification to just confirm that the case they're working on has been completed and has been received by now the secretariat. And also they will get a PDF to just confirm that they have received the case. So there's also technical reviewers who will basically be the next step after now the secretariat has received the case. They can now assign it to a technical reviewer to basically address the case and then provide feedback so that it can be able to proceed to the next level. So this is basically what I was just explaining. Each secretariat TWG receives case files from the facilities through the link below, which is the NHCSC, which is the National HIV Clinical Support Center.nascop.org, then /clinical form. I'll be sharing this link, so if you can keep keen on the link, that is the link that will basically guide you to basically where the clinical summary form has been saved. Then, once it's submitted, you'll get an email notification, and as I had explained earlier, the case are received through the secretariat account where a feedback is done and sent to the technical reviewers for cases, for technical cases. Non-technical cases are addressed, can be addressed at the secretariat and feedback sent directly to the facility. Those cases sent to technical reviewers, also the technical reviewers receive an email which they will have a login account, a login link to basically log into the platform to provide feedback to the secretariat. Then once the secretariat receives the feedback from the technical reviewers, he can approve the case. If a technical reviewer or secretariat recommends for request for DRT and is approved by the secretariat, a NAT number is assigned and the case is submitted to NASCOP for processing of DRT request. For cases that approved by the secretariat for DRT will be sent to NASCOP account where the DRT request form will be sent to the secretariat and the facility. This step that I've just explained for cases approved by the secretariat, we have not yet completed that section of the Uliza platform. So currently the platform is working until the assigning of the NAT numbers, which is done by the secretariat account, which I will basically display later once we start getting into the platform. So these are the accounts, the login to the platform for the technical reviewers, system administrator, secretariat, and NASCOP team. So you'll enter through the link below, which is https://nhcsc.nascop.org/Uliza. For the clinical summary form is /clinical summary form. For any assistance or support using the platform, email ict@nascop.or.ke. In case you encounter any challenges with the platform, do not hesitate. Even if the platform is down, just do an email to ict@nascop.or.ke in less than 24 hours. I usually monitor that email every time. So in less than 24 hours, you'll be able to get your response or immediately. So this is just the workflow of basically how the cases flow, basically how the complete system is supposed to work. But currently we have reached until this section for the DRT. The NASCOP area is still under development. So we'll be working on it to basically now address the issue of the DRT request form, which we are planning to basically places as part of the system, so that now it can be able to be approved by NASCOP, so that now it can go together with the sample. So that area has not yet been finalized together with the lab and also the commodity section. Those ones have not yet been finalized, but at least we have until the generation of the NAT number. So that's just a short presentation on basically how the system works. Now, the next bit is I'll be taking you through now the platform to basically now do a demonstration of how the platform works. So please confirm that you can be able to see my screen.
Yes, we can.
So the first bit is to access the platform is to access through the link nhcsc.nascop.org. Then you can come through now to Uliza. Then under Uliza, we have the section for the login. I had already explained earlier for which members are going to be using the login rights. Then we have now for the clinical, the link below, which is click here to access the online clinical summary form. This one you just download in case you want to do a summary of the clinical summary form offline. You can just download the link. You can now go to the online link and upload. So we'll be going to the online one. So as you can see, this form looks similar to basically the clinical summary form that we have been using frequently. So the first bit, as my colleague had explained, is you have to provide the facility that we'll be using for this. So for this demonstration, I will do a demo using the Nairobi account, or the Nairobi TWG account. So we'll have a demonstration. So anyone can send a case, regardless of whether how complex or how simple the case is. This case form can be, you don't send the cases to ICT at NASCOP to be filled at NASCOP. You fill the cases from wherever you are. So the only challenge we are having for this part is basically you just need to be having a good, literally a good network to be able to fill. Currently, it is not offline, but we'll work on it. So we'll use the KNH referral patient, Nairobi, just for the demonstration. Then we'll give a dummy CCC number. So case was reported today, date of birth. This is just for demonstration. So the fields that are in asterisk are mandatory fields. So those are fields you have to fill before you submit. So I hope we are following together.
Yes, Collins.
Yeah. So I might not be speaking, but basically I'm just filling the mandatory fields as highlighted earlier during the presentation. Then now the next bit, you have to give a reason also, which is a mandatory field. For example, this one we can just say it's secondary failure. If it's other, you will have to specify, you put other primary reason, which is an additional field. There's someone speaking on the background. I will not give any detailed for any summary, because this is just a dummy case. So you have to give a clinician evaluation in terms of history, physical diagnosis, working diagnosis, and the same. Then you come to the visits. So for the visit, you will put the date. This is just for demonstration. So if any of the regimens is not available in the list that is provided here, you can use other, and if you see below there is a field that is usually specified other regimen, so you can just provide the other regimen if the regimen list is currently not there. So we are planning also to update the regimen list, but for the time being, if you do not find any regimen on the list provided, please put it under other. Just select other and be able to put the other regimen. But for the time being, this is just for the demonstration. Then you provide a reason. Please, hope you understand that I'm not a clinician. This just my for the demonstration purposes, but I expect that these fields will be filled correctly. Then you also provide the details regarding if it's for our children, provide the BMI. For these results, my earlier colleague had basically demonstrated, you will provide basically the clinical visit based on the assessments that were done. Then once you finish, you'll just put submit. And then now this one you can be able to edit in case you made any errors in terms of the form that you're submitting. So you can do as many visits as possible on this form. So you can add a clinic visit, you can add as many as you want. And then you can, if you maybe you made a mistake, you can also delete the visit. Okay. So now then we move to the next bit. I think my colleague already explained this area in terms of adherence and treatment failure. So we will start so based on how the guideline basically guides you on how to fill this form, you will basically now fill on the specific areas. Some areas, basically we made all the areas to be text fields so that you can be able to provide a narration of how basically the adherence and treatment failure evaluation is being conducted. So I'll just put a demo, just a dummy to basically for the presentation purposes. Then the next bit will be moving to evaluation of other causes of treatment failure, which you will be having a highlight on the left-hand side, and you'll also provide now your feedback on the right-hand side. Then other relevant ART history, you'll also provide. Please confirm that I'm still in the meeting.
Yes, we are following Collins.
Okay, thank you.
You are.
Okay, thank you. So once you reach the end of the form, the next bit is to just do, once you confirm that the details are okay, the next bit is to do a submit. So once you submit, you will see you have successfully submitted your request. Please wait first before you get this message on this next page. So you can see the message on the next page, successful submission. So what happens is, once you get the successful submission, that confirms that the case has been submitted to the secretariat and now can be addressed by the secretariat team. Now we'll basically check in terms of the email accounts. I might need to just give me a minute. Let me return back to the other. Just give me a minute. I log into the account, then email account, then we can be able to return back to check whether the case has arrived. So we are back. Let me share the screen. So as I had explained earlier, so you are able to see that the case has already a notification has been sent to the email. Currently, I'm using my email as the secretariat just for this demonstration. So the secretariat has received a clinical summary form notification. This is the CCC number as a case we have. And then we have a PDF. That is for the secretariat. Then now, let me just stop share also. Let me log into the other account. Because there are two emails which are usually shared. One is goes to the secretariat, and then one is to the clinician who basically fills the form. So just a minute. Let me share the screen so that I return you back. So I just wanted to confirm that the system is also working in both sides. So we can be able to see this is for, let me, so you can see that this is the email that I had basically put the NASCOP echo at Gmail. So basically the dear sir stroke madam, please note that we have received the clinical summary form. So once you submit, you're supposed to receive a form that is like this one. We are working on basically the design of the form, so it will not be looking the same way it's looking now. So that one is still in process. So once we are able to finalize the remaining process, you'll be able to see a better form that you can be able to, that is basically displaying your case. But this is basically the notification that you'll get in terms of the forms that are submitted. Now we'll move to the next bit. Confirm you can still see my screen.
Yes, we can still see it.
Now the next bit is on the link that for the secretariat, just click here, and then it will redirect you directly to the Uliza platform. Under the Uliza platform, you'll now log in using the email address for the secretariat. So I've already logged into the secretariat. So we can be able to see the case is already arrived. The Uliza number for the case is 2276. Currently, it doesn't have any NAT number. it has a CCC number. It says it's for Nairobi. So only cases that are within your region. So if a case you're not finding any case that is, maybe a case has been submitted and it is not appearing under Nairobi TWG, it means either the mapping of the county is not part of your county. So we need to address, maybe you need to do an email just to inform, like, there is a case number CCC, basically, or Uliza number. You can even use the Uliza number. We can track the Uliza number. You can give the case number, like the Uliza number, and then now tell us about the case, in the challenge you're having with the case. If you're not, it is not appearing here, most likely it has gone to a different TWG based on the mapping of the counties. So for the Nairobi TWG, there are specific number of counties which they usually monitor, and those ones are the ones, the cases that will be coming on their side. Then we have, in terms of explanation, we have these basically the columns which you'll be able to see in terms of the case, clinical case summary. You'll be able to see the CCC, RTWG, be able to see the county, sub-county, facility, then status of the case, and then reporting date when the case was reported. So due to the email notification, we expect the cases to be basically responded to in a short period of time. So there is this option of send edit link to facility. So we removed the save as draft. So what happens is, for example, when you submit a case and that case has issues, maybe it is incomplete, it has not been filled to satisfactory, the Secretariat will send the edit link to the facility so that the facility can be able to edit the form again and then submit the same Uliza number case. It's just doing like an update to basically the form that they were filling. We don't need to be having many Uliza numbers for the same number, the same case that we are working on. So this one was supposed to basically eliminate the option of save as draft. Then now the next bit, before we jump into the cases, I would like to take just a navigation around the Secretariat account so that it can assist the Secretariat in terms of how to basically add technical reviewers. So the first bit is to come to users. Then the next bit is to create user. So once you come to create user, you can be able to create the technical reviewers. The fields that are mandatory are the ones like the email, then the two names, and we usually recommend that it's good to have a telephone number in case you'll be having any challenges with the specific person that you are basically addressing the case, or you want to do a quick follow-up. The telephone number would be of benefit to just basically call the technical reviewer and be able to. So I will not be adding any technical reviewers for the time being. This was just a demonstration to show that the Secretariat can also add technical reviewers. So once they have been added, they can be able to view the technical reviewers. So this is like the list of all the technical reviewers for Nairobi. And for the technical reviewers, they can only receive cases that they have been assigned by the Secretariat. Now we'll move to the case. So the next bit is to process the feedback. So once you process the feedback, there are two sides. We have the clinical summary form, which is the case that has been submitted. Then we have the feedback form, which is in green. So for the feedback form, we still have to work on the feedback form for a bit, but for the time being, it's working for us well. So you can be able to see the information provided. So we'll start from the first bit, which is the clinical summary. You can provide, let me scroll. So the clinical summary consultation, you'll provide the consultation details. Then you can provide the observation. Then you can provide the recommendation. It was recommended for second line. Then you can provide supportive management. definitive management, if available, and then any additional investigation. Then there is this section for NASCOP comments. Do not provide NASCOP comments if you are not a NASCOP, if you're not addressing it on behalf of NASCOP. So only fill areas that are related to basically for either for the secretariat or for the technical reviewers that you're following up. Then if you are a reviewer, you'll provide reviewers' comments. And then if you're a technical advisor, you'll also provide technical advisor's comment. Then now this is the area that we need to, basically, I think this one, in terms of the updates, we will basically make it a mandatory field. This is the one area that determines where the case will go. So for cases that we, for this demonstration purpose, I will basically refer to technical reviewer. For cases referring to the technical reviewer, you just click on refer to technical reviewer, and then I will come here and choose the technical reviewer. For example, I can send even to multiple. So I can send to prevention, I can send to care and treatment. Those are just for demonstration purposes. Then I'll just click on submit. Or it is asking me for the date. So it's providing the date, which is today. Then I'll submit for review. So the case has been submitted to the technical reviewers. We want to confirm whether the technical reviewers have received the case. So let me sign out. And just give me a minute. Let me log into the account. Just 1 minute, let me log in through the other. Just give me a minute, I log into the secretariat account, then I'll be back just in a few. Let me check the password. Mm, just a minute. Just give me about 2 minutes. I'm resetting the password. I think the password for the email. Okay, I've managed to sort it out. Let me just log into the account. Okay, let me share my screen. So I need login. So I think for the technical reviewer, I'll just explain because it has already been sent. So you can be able to see on the top here, it's saying that basically Collins sent a message. Joshua has referred this case to the technical reviewer, which the technical reviewer, once they log into the account, they will be able to now address the two cases, which is from here, the prevention and also the care and treatment. So once they address the case is when now the secretariat will be able to receive the notification that they have submitted their case. The case form is the same. This is the same feedback form that the technical reviewer will be filling, that also the secretariat also fills. But now they'll be, in terms of approval, the approval will only be done at the secretariat level. So the technical reviewers and the secretariat team fill the same feedback form. So it's not a different feedback form. So once they submit, the case will now come back to the secretariat, and now the secretariat will have an option of either to approve or to disapprove. For this case, I will not approve because I want to provide feedback for DRT so that I can explain how to generate penalty numbers, which is the most important bit. So now for this case, I want to change this, the options. Are we together?
Yes, Collins.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so for this case, we basically now come to this section called for the case summary, recommendation feedback. This is the section that you will now select request for DRT. Then I'll uncheck these two. Then I'll click submit. So once I submit, I will come to process feedback. And then I can be able to see at the top, basically I've updated the form that I was basically working on earlier. So it's this case is for, they have requested for a DRT. So once I request for a DRT, I will be able to come here and you see there is this NASCOP NAT number. Currently the NAT number has not generated. So how can we generate the NAT number? The first bit is, as secretary, disapprove first. Then now click on approve. Then once you approve, you can check on below it's the NASCOP NAT number has already been generated. Currently we have NAT number 11323. So currently the NAT number has been generated, and this case you can now proceed with the next bit, which is to basically now issue the NAT number and the case can now proceed. Now from this section, we're expecting that once you approve a DRT request, it's supposed to go to the NASCOP email and to notify NASCOP that a DRT request has been made, and then they approve from their side, and you will be able to send a form to basically now the facility and also notify the secretariat that the form has been approved, and now the facility can be able to fill the form and fill the DRT form. And then also once they fill the DRT form, they send it together with the sample. So that section has not yet been completed and it's a work in progress. So that is where we have reached in terms of the platform. So once we finalize that section, the lab section is also planning to be included as part of the platform. So we'll include the lab and also the commodities section, which is a discussion that is currently going on. So once we include the lab bit, most of the details that we are filling retrospectively, we might just be picking them from the lab section and be able to address certain cases that are related to treatment failure. So that is just my snapshot of basically how the platform works. And I would like to end the presentation for now or for the platform so that we can be able to receive any feedback and questions regarding the Uliza platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Collins. That was a very well demonstrated presentation. I will invite the colleagues who have queries or who have comments. Maybe I can go through there are two questions. So Simon was asking about is it possible for NASCOP to have a bank where you can see I think sent cases and review status, because tracking after sending the summary is a big deal. Yeah, I think that is a very important point. Maybe for the clinician, maybe a view only kind of what do we call them? I'm trying to look for that word.
Tracker.
Yeah, tracker.
Tracker.
Yeah. Yes, so that a clinician is able to see this case was sent to maybe the reviewer. This is the point the case has reached. Maybe if there is a delay, they can be able to give us ends up because we might be receiving very many cases. Could that be possible, Collins?
Oh, let me just take that. That's a nice point.
Yeah.
I think it's something that we never thought about it.
Yes.
How
Yes.
to basically like track the cases as they go, as they move along. So that's something, that's a nice point that I need to take note of. And then also we can put it in the pipeline to basically have where a clinician, once they submit, they can be able to do a follow-up, just find out where their case has reached. And so that they can, when they are expecting any feedback, they just know by there, this is where the case has reached, and this is the expected timelines in terms of receiving the case. That's a nice feedback. We'll take it to. But for the time being, I can also suggest that because that area is not working, and we already have the Uliza number. I don't know whether the form. Let me just check my email. Let me just confirm the one that is submit. Yeah, so the one that goes also to the clinician has an Uliza number. So if they want also to just do a follow-up, this is a manual way. If you want to do a follow-up, you can just inform the secretariat of the Uliza number for the case. So that once they are looking for it, they can just check it's which Uliza number, 2276. So when you check 2276 on the system, let me just share my screen. So 2276, you can check from here, and you can also do the search from here, 2276, and it will give you the case. So I believe that will be a workaround for the time being to be able to address the issues of just follow up on the cases to find out where they have reached. So currently this case is still under review. We're expecting that once it has already, the sample had already arrived, this case could be finalized as in process feedback and sent to the facility, but that section has not yet been completed on the platform yet.
So Collins, just based on your feedback, if I may seek clarity, the platform we are on right now does not need credentials. So as a clinician, I can access it without particular credentials?
For clinicians, they don't need credentials. They'll just go, let me sign out, so that I just take you to that section. So for the platform, there are two areas. For the credential, it's only for the technical reviewers, secretariat, and admin. Those are the three users who require credentials, because those are the people who will be addressing the feedback for the summary forms which are sent. But for the clinician, they will just come here and click here to access the online form. They don't need any credentials. They will just fill the form and they can submit. So once they submit, it will generate an Uliza number. So that Uliza number is the one which will be tracking what Uliza basically we just meant ask. So we basically put a code to it to just say someone is asking about this number. So can you follow up on basically this case to find out how we can be able to address? Only cases that have NAT numbers are the ones which we are following up for DRT. Those ones can be generated only at the secretariat level.
Yeah, thank you, Collins. I think that was a very good feedback, and that was the essence of having this meeting. So there was a question from John, but I think you addressed that on the point where we are able to extract the NAT number. That was certain. Then Festus, I think I responded to Festus. So now, do you log in into the system? Is asking for username. I was just addressing that the only people who are given the credentials are the TWG secretariat and the technical reviewers. For other clinicians, they will only be given that. Maybe as we keep updating our system, they will have maybe a viewer right, so they are able to view, but they are not able to make any changes. Maybe just to follow up on where the case has reached. Maybe that can something that you can discuss with our developer. Then there's a question from Ken. What happens in case of internet loss? Actually, I noted that down. In case of internet loss, as the clinician fills the case summary, do we have like an option for the draft save, or is it auto-saving as the clinician is doing it online? It's a very important point.
That one, okay, okay, that's work in progress. It's something that we are working on.
Yeah.
We are looking at we are trying to work on a way we can be able to have an offline mode that you can be able to work on the form, on the clinical summary form offline.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to now the Uliza platform, we just upload. So, but that is work in progress. So currently, as of now, I would just recommend that before you do the submit, make sure that the form that you're working on, before you click the submit button, make sure the connection is good. For the time being, we do not have a solution for that area for the work, for in case of disconnection of the internet. So if it disconnects, it means that most likely you have just lost the case. You need to redo it for the time being. We don't have a solution to that for now, but we are working on it.
Yeah, thank you, Collins. I also had maybe a comment. So I know there is also something that we are working on in terms of interoperability with Kenya EMR, so that it makes our work easier. Recommendations that we make from the system goes directly to the Kenya EMR for the clinician to be able to access. So that is also a work in progress. I know you're also working on the offline, whereby you just fill the form, the physical, not the physical, but the Word document. Then you just upload it, and the system will be able to pick it. So that one will work for to sort out the issue of internet. Yeah, those are the areas that we really working on, and of course that what has been suggested to have the clinician be able to have the viewing right, not necessarily to go into the system and make changes, unless I know there is an area that we click to allow the clinician to add more information in case we need any. But now, for the purpose of following the case, would be a very important feature to have it in the system. I know it's a child that we have nurtured from, I think, from 1 year ago, and seen a lot of development has happened over the time. So unless there are other questions, I think it's already 10:32. We anticipated to finish this by 10:30. So any burning issue before we conclude the meeting? Patricia, you have anything?
My comment would be that as we use it, probably some of the challenges we'll encounter are as we are using it, and we'll probably be able to raise the challenges through the ICT email.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have Casco, Nairobi Casco Kajiando in the call? If we don't, then we can call it a meeting. So thank you so much, Collins, for finding time to take us through this. I know we've had very many meetings concerning this system, and I can see we are really having positive feedback from even the users of the system. So as for Nairobi, we will be submitting our cases through the online platform for the purpose of tracking them. I know there are like 2 cases that were submitted some time back. I wanted to have this CME done for my reviewers so that they can understand what is required of them. We should be able to start tracking the progress of those cases, and if they require NAT number, we should be able to get NAT number online. So for the NAT numbers that we are giving offline, we no longer have them because we want to embrace the system that is online for the purpose of tracking what we do as the RTWG. So from my side and from the Secretariat, Collins, you have something to say before I conclude?
Before Collins talks, I'm sorry to interrupt, Chris. My question is,
yes,
will a reviewer be able to see the comments of other reviewers so that there is no repetition on recommendation, or there's an addition on what could have been left out? How is the interface as far as the reviewers themselves are concerned?
Yeah, maybe
So,
Collins, yeah.
So apologies, I wasn't able to basically take you through the part for the reviewers. But as you had seen, I highlighted earlier, you had seen let me just share so that I finalize a bit. It's good to do it practically. So let me return to Uliza, because I've been having challenges with my usernames for the logins. I'm currently logged out. I need to check out on the emails. So what happens, like, for example, for this case, you see this section at the top. So for also the technical reviewers, they will see the section at the top. Basically, the first you'll be able to see, like, for this case has been assigned by the secretariat, and it has been assigned to, let's say, HIV prevention and also care and treatment. So if you assign to multiple reviewers, you will be able to see their comments. That is if it's sent to multiple. But if it's sent to individually you will only be able to see your comments alone. But you can only see comments of another person after they submit. If they have not submitted, you cannot be able to see their comment. So you have an option of seeing comments from multiple reviewers if they are shared to multiple.
Thank you.
By the
Who's
secretariat.
the person sharing to the multiple? The clinician?
No.
How is
Not the secretariat.
the secretariat?
So,
Okay.
So all cases come from the clinicians. The first landing point is the secretariat. They will not even reach the technical reviewer. So the secretariat is the link between the clinician and the technical reviewers. So first, it will come to the secretariat. Then the secretariat, depending on their workload, they will decide who to address the cases. If the cases are many, they can share to different technical reviewers so that each and every technical reviewer can be able to address the case. They can also send to all so that they can get their feedback. And then based on their feedback, if they're in agreement, it's for DRT, the secretariat will approve for DRT, depending on the feedback provided by the technical reviewers. But they can be able to see their
That's
cases,
noted.
their
Thank
comments.
you.
Yeah. I think
Kiplagat's comment is also valid.
Yeah, sure. We will have to relook at the list of the. I think this was added some time back when we were trying to see if the system is working. We were working with Collins then, but now with the much development that have happened, I will have to pause update the list of reviewers because some of people in that list have already left the region. If Kiplagat can be able to speak, can say something. I was looking for him. Kip, are you able to speak? Can close for us?
Chris, thank you for the opportunity. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
So I didn't want to speak, but much appreciated for organizing this. I think it's important that we embrace the new changes or the new updates in terms of using the online platform to update our cases so that it's real time and everyone is able to access, and we have our data or our clients' cases being handled in a more efficient and effective way. So I just want to appreciate the Secretariat for organizing this. And also much appreciation to Collins for also supporting us on this. And I know we'll be reaching out more to you so that we're able to learn and even interact more with this tool. So just to appreciate all of you and wish you a blessed day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Kip. So from me and the Secretariat, I wish to call it a meeting. Let's go back and serve our patient. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you for having me here.